The system is moving the people are not moving the system.
Welcome to the AfriMind podcast, your podcast for courage and inspiration from Africa. My name is Lena, Wendt, and my vision is to tell stories that have the power to change your life. Tonight we are talking with Karim. He's a very good friend of mine that I met accidentally, I would say, or maybe nothing is accidentally, but we popped into each other when we were touring with our movie, and actually we got introduced by your mother-in-law. She took you to our movie because you were just new in freezing cold Germany.
Yes, I was 3 months in Germany.
You were 3 months in Germany. It was cold, and yeah, you needed some African vibes, I guess.
You never get it out of your system, do you? It never goes away.
Actually discovered, or I discovered that I know you already because I've seen you in the music video that my old colleague made, the music video for Revolver Held. So
Yeah.
I've actually came across you before, and that was like, I found it super amazing in the world so small.
I remember what you wrote on your Instagram. It's been almost 3 years. Actually, next month will be 3 years since we got to know each other. We met, and since then we've not met anymore, right? But we do talk. I wonder how often you do that with people you just meet. No way. Anyway, so yeah, I think you wrote Zost. We never knew you existed, but thank God that we visited. Something kind of is on your Instagram. You can look when there was a photo of me and you and Uli. I think it's Providence that made us meet, and that is how the world is.
I really also like to stay in touch because first, you're a great soul. Second, I find you highly intelligent and interesting and very wise. I find you a very loving person. And I really also like to hear how someone feels that is my good friend immigrating or integrating into my home country. I'm very grateful that we are in an exchange, keep each other updated, and I can follow your story. That's, to me, is a big, big gift to also grow myself.
Now, there's some big pressure there with all those adjectives. I don't know if they do really qualify me. But what I can say, yes.
So how would you introduce yourself? Introduce yourself, please.
I don't. I'm not gonna appear or humble here or so, but come on, in all my almost 40 years of life, there's been occasions where people have used the same adjectives you've used. But there's been other occasions where I'm considered dumb and underestimated. So it all depends on which crowd I find myself in. Whatever I'm going to say here may not necessarily be for all immigrants. My case is different. People may have similar stories, but not the same stories, because we are all different people. There's nothing like the same. There is no sameness anywhere, but similarities. I think there is a difference when people use these words. So I think people can relate, but may not really feel what it is like, to be an immigrant in somebody's land, new, leaving your life behind you. It's like burning bridges, It's like burning bridges.
You're actually Ghanaian, right? So just to tell everyone else, you come from Ghana, you were a teacher in Ghana, and actually you were pretty happy with your life there, right? Or am I getting that wrong?
No, I was pretty happy with my life. I worked as a teacher for a decade, a little bit after a decade, 10, 11 years. Yeah. In the primary school, in the secondary school, I had some gigs also working on the side in some private tertiary institutions. So Maybe the only institution I didn't touch is the university because, yeah, my qualification uh, doesn't allow me.
You speak now not just perfect English, you also speak a very French, and I mean, I'm so excited because you seem to be one of the like fastest German learners in the world.
Are you sure? My French is actually gone down the drain because I started learning German.
Do you find that if you learn a new language, it actually erases an old language, or
Es kommt darauf an. Also, I think the language that is not well developed actually gets erased. So when it comes to African languages that I speak, it's Ghanaian, I speak P because I was born in Kumasi, and so it's P is actually like my mother tongue, yeah. But I really have a native language because both my parents come from the northeastern part of Ghana, and they are all Bisa.
did you ever have this idea of getting married and go to Europe before? Like, I mean, a lot of my Ghanaian friends, they get married pretty early to a Ghanaian woman. They start having their families, but it wasn't your case, right?
I am always an exception. I have always been an exception to the rule. Mm, I don't know if it is in my DNA, but it was really difficult finding the one. I was looking for a specific thing. I was looking for something without conditions attached. And you find that in our part of the world now, it is really difficult to find that kind of unconditional love in a relationship. I have to be honest here, for me, it doesn't truly exist. Everybody kind of engage in cost benefit analysis, CBA. So this dude here, he is a teacher, he's in a village. If I was a teacher in the city, my prospects would have been easier. Your destiny is always different depending on the place you find yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So in the village, your chances are really, really smaller. My wife just came along as the right person when I least expected it. I had actually given up. I had actually given up on love and all that stuff. So
How old were you at that time?
I was 32.
How did you meet?
She had to do practicum at a children's village.
Mm-hmm.
And I happened to live near the children's village.
How did you know that this woman is as unconditional as you wanted?
We were on the same wavelength. I don't mean that negatively, but for a Ghanaian, I kind of had a bit of a European mindset, according to her. Okay, so
Please, please let me know, what is that?
I don't know according to her, but
Come on, be
and,
honest.
I was just me. I have never had to pretend to be else, and I never expected anybody to do me favors. I knew that for things to be all right, even if I would get help, I had to start something on my own and do so on my own. I never asked for handouts from any of the volunteers. But contrary, amongst my friends, we have a system. We are friends, we are brothers. There's nothing like handouts. If someone needs something, I can do it, I do it. Yeah, if they can pay it back, good enough. If not, it's not a debt. It's not something that is written down. It's like a cycle. It doesn't mean that the next time I need something, I go straight to that person. No, it's a cycle. Whenever anyone needs help, we are there ready to give. But on the other front, you know it, you've experienced it. My wife has lived it. There are people who actually expect that everybody that comes from Europe or the United States or wherever in the diaspora is rich and then can help, and they ask for handouts.
It's also where it kind of like hits, in this guilt thing. Like if someone asks me for something, I already feel guilty because I know I have more and I came there to learn and to help. So why should I not help as much as I can and then ask all my family to help? But what I found is that my friends who did that, like my Ghanaian friends who did that, who started young, like always like asking for help, they never developed the ability to help themselves.
There are people who genuinely need help.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are people who genuinely need help. And there are people who have made a trade out of it because they've realized that people would give readily because of this kind of social or is it societal guilt that you have coming from a land where everything is different compared to where you find yourself, and it gets to you actually. We shouldn't be ignorant. We should be discerning. Sometimes, your conscience speaks to you. When a person is lying to you, you know. When a person is being honest, you know. But it also depends on the circumstance in which you find yourself. There is a lot of information out there. For me, YouTube has the same function as Google. There are a lot of YouTubers in Africa are doing great now, showing you the different sides of Africa. And so you get to know that it's not all that bad, so that nobody can play on your conscience and on your emotions. You know what to expect. You know where to hang out. You know the kind of crowds to avoid. Yes. So that is, they should just arm themselves with information so that they wouldn't fall prey to scams and people playing on their intelligences.
With what mindset did your wife meet you?
I have to ask her. I don't know what mindsets she had, but what I realized when I got to meet her family for the first time here in Germany is that her parents are well traveled. They've traveled to as far as Oman. They've been to Africa twice, but in the Europeanized part of Africa, South Africa and Namibia, these are top countries that when you go there, sometimes if you don't take care, you don't even realize that you are in Africa because the architecture and all those things reminds you
of Germany.
Of Germany or so.
Yeah, I get you completely.
Yeah, but in West Africa, it's totally different. So I realized the parents are well traveled, so they are very open minded. So it made me realize that that is where she gets her open mindedness from. Her siblings are also fantastic, and they were very welcoming.
And could you have imagined to stay in Ghana together?
I have never believed in all being rosy in any European country. So I actually didn't want to leave Ghana. After working for 10 years, I had now cracked the code. Based on my background, I found a lot of things very difficult, and it took me, yeah. Someone listening to this later may think, oh, he isn't the sharpest tool in the box, but my background is not horrible, but because of things I went through, financial literacy wasn't that big and all that. It took me about 10 years to crack the code. Things I couldn't. So right about the time I met my wife, things were beginning to go according to how I wanted it in my life. Got a piece of land, wanted to start something because all my friends were putting up buildings. Wow. Some had finished, some were in the process. So they were encouraging me. Now I found myself in the right crowd for the first time, So now I didn't want to leave everything, because when I leave, things would change. I'm not afraid of change. But the point is, okay, if things don't work out in Germany, do I get my old job back? I didn't have to write a license.
Ghanaian talking about securities.
Yeah, but that is what I said. I'm a bit different. I am from Ghana. I am Ghanaian, but I didn't want to. And look, Lena, I when I finally came to Germany, I was 34. I wouldn't just jump on the ship and say, "Hey, I'm coming to Germany." You who? No, I didn't want to. I didn't want to.
What made you decide to drop out of your just growing life?
I put it to one thing, the kid. We had a kid. I know she and the system would have been able to take care of the kid. But what is a child without a father in its life? I think one of the reasons why maybe I didn't go astray in my life, no matter how perfect or not perfect my dad was, is because he was in my life. And I didn't want the child and now children to miss that. Yeah. We now have 3 boys. Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
planned?
I think you know the answer to that. A very Ghanaian answer to that.
Why not? Is it that?
Let me be honest here. It wasn't planned. And I knew she had her life ahead of her. So we had to talk about it. We decided to keep the child. So when the child was there, I also had to be there. You know, if someone listening to this may think, oh, he just got a sure way into Germany and wanted to, but I honestly didn't. I just looked at it and I said, it's better that I'm in the life of the child rather than staying away.
And is it true? Is it better?
Well, I've only been here for 3 years, 2 months, Lena. It could have been worse.
What did you imagine and how is the reality?
That is it. I never imagined. I never had any expectations. It's a new motto I adopted. I have come to realize it may not work for everybody, but actually most of the troubles we face in life, whether in marriage, whether in work or anything, is because we have certain fantasies, certain expectations. It's never a straight line. That is what I've also realized in the German mindset. So when anything happens, it's like, "Nein, ich kann nicht mehr," but life is not straight. It can be zigzag, it can be circular. You don't get to determine. You see, you are not the only person on this planet. There are other people. That means there are other factors. People are coming with different baggages, different experiences, different mindset. It's never gonna go in a straight line. Even with your siblings, you all don't think the same. So I honestly did not have any expectations. I was like, let's do it.
Then what you did was you came into the winter in a really like in an area I'd never heard of, right? And you decided I'm gonna live here. My highest respect for that. Like, I can only say it was a good experience to travel, having a different skin color, not speaking the language, not understanding culture, travel through a different country. And living in different countries is something completely different because that means you came to stay. You came to grow roots, put your feet into the soil of an area that is not familiar to your culture.
A year and a half prior, I came for a month's visit to Germany and went back to Ghana. So I kind of had an impression. I realized that there was a lot of pressure in the German system after 1 month stay, that I felt it literally. I felt pressure. You leave to work, and honestly, as a Ghanaian, that for me is no life. I realized it immediately. It was one of the reasons I had to think when I had the visa. They were like, "Do you want to get a ticket and come tomorrow?" Because I could have traveled the next day. Then I waited a week. I still I still didn't want to go, so I could have been in Germany for Christmas. But I decided to leave on the 30th and arrive here on 31st so that I could begin my new life in the new year. I came with this mindset that beginning the new year, my new life in the new year 2019. Right. So I had this impression that it's not an insult, but I felt people were moving like robots. It's like the system is moving the people. The people are not moving the system.
Yeah.
So the people are on strengths. And I asked myself, do I want to live like this? If you haven't been in any other system, you wouldn't understand. You think that is the life,
Like
And
all of us, right? All of
yeah,
us who never left think that is how life is, that is how life feels. I mean, you grow up and people tell you you need to become someone. Like you are not someone when you are born, you have to work for it, right? And I found it so interesting that you felt that already just in that short period. How did you get prepared to come into a system already felt like this?
anybody who knows me personally knows my background. I may not be the Martin Luther King or the Steve Biko or Mandela, but I fight against systems, but in my own way. I do not accept what you give me. I only tolerate it. I respect it. I will not go against it. But in the end, you will see my point of view. Leave me, let me be me, and you will get the best out of me.
In the 3 years and 2 months you're in Germany now, you didn't Germanize?
Definitely, definitely, there will be changes in aspects of my life. It will never remain the same. But I have to keep what is me, the Karim sitting here, the innate person. Mindsets change, opinions change. If you haven't changed your mind about certain things, yeah, after a while, you have to check your pulse. You may be dead. You get what I mean? Yeah. So,
Yeah, you gotta grow for
yeah,
sure.
you gotta go. So it's only a fool who doesn't change his mind. Okay. So I can never really say that the system hasn't had an impact on me. But that is not for me to say. That will be for people around me, like my wife, to let me know. Okay. But when it comes to people saying Africans are never on time, blah blah blah, I had always been on time. As a teacher, I had to get my lesson. So that part, moving into going to school, the language school, going to work, that has never been a problem. I have practiced that for over 10 years. There were times, like I said, I was doing 2 jobs in Ghana.
Ghana, yeah, you were on time, but you also knew how to enjoy your life with your friends, right? You also knew how to enjoy yourself and your day. And can you still like do you still have this capacity? Like do you still have the room and the space for that? Do you have people who do that and share that with you?
Currently, not really much. So that is what makes me miss Ghana all the time. But for now, there's nothing I can do about that. Why so? I've got 3 kids now. They occupy my time and everything. So I don't have the chance to do certain things alone with friends. It's no longer there. I have to give that to my children now. And I don't see that as a problem. I made a decision to have kids. So, yeah, like Denzel said in this film Equalizer, when you pray for rain, you've got to deal with the mud too, is a part of it. Now, for those who don't know, I don't know where people may be watching from across the world, but coming from the equator region, where you have 12 hours of day, 12 hours of night. The weather is summer all year. Coming to a place like this where you experience your kind of weather for only 3 months, at most 4 months, and the rest is just cold and rainy. And come
Summer.
on, Lena, it is heavy. I don't know how I have gotten through this. I miss it. It was part of me, chilling with friends in Ghana,
Yeah.
going to work, coming back, no matter how tired I was. But it is not so here for me, and I have to accept that, and not make a big fuss about it. A time will come, maybe, when I can have that again. But for now,
How would you describe in one sentence a life in Germany? And how would you describe in one sentence a life in Ghana?
life in Germany, Druk. Not a sentence, by the way, Druk. Yeah, life in Ghana is relaxed.
You gotta know like a lot of Germans now. Do we make it easy for you to become part?
It depends. I can say I'm a very lucky person. Okay, that is why I cannot really generalize.
Mm-hmm.
This is my personal experience. It may be subjective. I'm not living in a big city like Dortmund or Düsseldorf or Köln or Hamburg. I have a quiet life here in a moderate. It's not a big town, but it is good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, life is quiet, whether day or night. If it is not summer, you hardly meet anybody
Wow.
outside. I have nice neighbors who are very, very accepting. They see you, they want to have a 10-minute chat with you. I have not had any problem with any German person that I have personally met.
Coming as a teacher, what are your chances job-wise?
Anyone, whether a German or European, who is going to have a new family member, whether a husband or a boyfriend from any part of the world coming, you have to really inform yourself about the immigration process and the prospects that this person is going to have or will be allowed to have in your system.
Wow, yeah.
And one thing I realized is that most people are ill-informed. And when the person comes, it takes a long while. It took me over a year to get my certificates recognized. When you come as an immigrant, this is where it is important to have contact to other immigrants.
Yeah.
But for the right reasons. Yeah. So yeah. What I'm doing now in Germany, working with refugees. So I am a Fachkraft, that's a professional.
Okay.
They said I am trained as a subject teacher. So, Erzieher oder Erzieherin have different, they have different approaches. So I cannot work as an Erzieher, but at least it shows that I am a trained professional. That is why I could work as Fachkraft at my current place now.
I remember when there were times when it wasn't that easy, right? I think that was a time in the beginning of Corona when you said that it really was difficult and you were really trying to knock a lot of doors that one door opens in the end for you. I'm very happy to see where you are right now, and I'm very proud of you. You are financing the family at the moment because your wife is with the children. If I would have like a trophy, I would reach it out for you because I found it highly amazing what you reached in a very short time.
It hasn't been easy. I've had immense help. You start something, the right help will come along. I have had immense help from my teachers, to my in-laws, to the relatives of my wife. Everybody has been there each step of the way. Yeah, but it's also because I was willing to do that.
If you say you go for something, you really mean that. Like you really put all your energy in there, I can say. What was your biggest culture shock when you came to Germany?
Culture shock or shocks. Our neighbor had a funeral. There's this lovely old woman, I always met her, and their family and my wife's family were the only people at the funeral. And I was like, whoa, that is, I was shocked. It's like you had to be invited to come to the funeral, and it's like you didn't see neighbors coming to console.
Yeah, in Ghana, a funeral is like a big party, right? Sometimes 3 days full on with the whole village. Everybody gives money to pay for it.
Yeah. Oh, here. Let's not get mistaken. People actually donate money to here, at least, even whether they were invited or not. I think when you have good neighbors, they put something in the envelope and put it in your briefcasting or so. You get what I mean? But I was shocked. It was like we were not even up to 30 people. Yeah, it was a shock. But because in Ghana, the moment the person dies, it's like a community, and the funeral is a big party. You start with the wake on Friday, the funeral on Saturday, and then on Sunday, yeah, it's yeah,
Were you shocked also in a way how we deal with death?
Your funeral can be held on any day. There isn't a specific day. Once a date is chosen, Your funeral is hard and you are left there, and all that we have is that memoriam, that gravestone, and it's kind of sad. But also, I understand that people want to have closure and move on pretty quickly with their life. I ask myself, then is it all also worth it? This going and coming, doing stuff. For us, a funeral is a celebration of life.
Yeah.
No matter how miserable the life was.
Yeah.
I think we can talk about other things later, the extravagance or whatever, because there are arguments that the money spent, sometimes some people were very poor in their lives, you know this, and they couldn't get the help, but then we had money to some go to the extent of taking
Maybe
bank loans to finance.
You would have money for the medicaments or the.
Meanwhile, no, these are the excesses, yeah. These are the downsides, but I don't see that celebration of people here.
Do you also see that in the everyday life? I mean, is that also part of the culture shock that people are so busy with their druck, with their running around and their pressure that they just forget how to celebrate life, or that they maybe have never done it?
They've never done it. You see the mindset. And now this is what I will not do. And this is the difference, you know. And I'm not saying all Europeans do this. That is the way of life of Germans. I accept it. Whether I like it or not, I accept it. On the contrary, you find a lot of people coming out of Europe and then they look down on the culture in Africa. He who writes history determines what people think. So let's leave that. I don't want to go into that, but
it's another podcast.
That is another issue altogether. I don't want to get all political here. People may not like me. So I realized that a lot of Germans that I met never knew anything at all about Africa. You will never be shown that there are people as equally as rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are buying Bugatti Chirons, brand new, 2022, and they are Ghanaians. They are not drug dealers or anything. These are normal, everyday people. For me, a person is also the information he has. And when people have these erroneous impressions, it is quite dangerous. So my culture shock number 2 was that people actually know next to nothing. Sometimes you get asked questions and you ask yourself if this person is stupid.
Give me 2 examples.
No, very stereotypical. I don't know.
Come on. What are your 2 favorite questions you get asked?
Is there internet in Africa? Is there?
I get asked this question a lot too, I must say.
They are really not important. So, things that are not important, I don't let them rent space in my head,
I remember you calling me super, super upset when Corona started, and everyone was running to the supermarkets, and you realized.
Oh God! Oh God! Do I have to say this?
Is there toilet paper in Africa?
Now, this is. I'm gonna go there. How many houses had their own toilets? I'm being realistic here. You have to go somewhere to take a shit, and sometimes you walk barefoot. It wasn't easy. It's been hard. So when there is something like Corona and I have to pack, the first thing I will look for is food. And a friend of mine in England had to go and get sacks of rice and all that. So we made a video call and we were laughing. So what is wrong with Europeans? If there's an apocalypse now, all these people would die and Africans will literally survive without any effort.
Because you know what is essential in life.
And People, and I was shocked people didn't realize this. Toilet roll, Jesus Christ, you get this Stadtanzeiger every weekend. It is an emergency. You can clean your ass with a newspaper, for crying out loud. It is also paper. Why does nobody think about that? You can clean your ass with water.
Oh, yes.
And nobody thought of that. You know, I know people are gonna watch this later and say, what the hell is this dude talking about? But yes, newspaper is a people I know have had to clean their asses with the cob of a corn.
You know how they do it in Morocco with rocks.
With rocks, with the cob of a corn, with newspaper to some people was even a luxury.
How do you find that balance in between really integrating, immigrating, becoming part of the whole, not losing yourself, and also not judging other people for their not knowing better?
Do I know any better, Lena? There are struggles. The struggle is real. My wife doesn't like it, but I'm almost always on my phone. I still connect with people I have in Ghana. It's good. So I still have contact. It gives me this balance.
To connect.
I keep myself sane by watching videos about Ghana. So I'm always up to date on what is going on through Facebook, Facebook is no longer a thing here, but Facebook and all that. Yeah. So just to keep that is how I keep balance. Unfortunately for me, there is an African church here. So we are not many people, but I make it a point when I can, when work does not take me away. Like today, I went with the two of the boys. When they're just, for me, it's not just about religiosity or spirituality, but it is also a time to meet people. We may not be from the same country, but at least I get to see people like me. It keeps me sane. I don't know how people did this 40, 50 years ago. Yeah, when there were not many Africans here, hats off to those people. It's really not easy.
This is how Africa vibes, right? You communicate a lot through your body. You connect a lot by touching each other. Like you take each other's hands, you hold each other. You
when you laugh, you just don't stand alone. You laugh and you you hold somebody's hand. You talk that kind of thing. You need it once in a while. You need it to keep you sane, because there is a big contrast. The life in Ghana, a life in Germany. I'm not speaking for someone who grew up in a posh area. They can acclimatize easily. They have a similar lifestyle. But those of us who grew up in the Zongos.
How do you integrate your culture into the life of your children?
I'm trying to get my dad here because I didn't go. We haven't had the best of relationships, but it's 8 years now since I lost my mom. So he's all I got. And I've introduced them to Ghanaian music. They don't like eating my food anymore because it is usually sharp, it is spicy. Yeah, but funny enough, I realized that my first son likes eba. Eba is Ghanaian Nigeria, and you put gari in hot water also, and then you make it into a ball. He likes it, and he actually calls it fufu. He thinks it's fufu, and he likes it. He can eat it like that without any sauce or soup. And I'm trying as best as I can. Unfortunately, I couldn't speak Tree with them all the time, so they hear me speaking English. That is what they are picking up. And sometimes they give me funny answers. I remember I asked Elias, "Wer bist du?" He said, "Ich bin Elias." Woher kommst du? He said, "Ghana." I was shocked. I never expected such an answer from him. And yeah, so they know.
Do you actually think about going for a while with the whole family living in Ghana? Because I guess if you stay in Germany, I mean, even if they call themselves Ghanaian, but they will be Germans, and it will
That
be.
is true. So for me, going back to Ghana now, I have to have a plan. I can't go to Ghana with my family going back to the teaching work. It will not be enough unless I upgrade myself, maybe get to teach at a higher institution where the salary will be enough. Or I can start a business. Yeah, and when the business is well grounded, I can go back with my family or get a job and go back to Ghana as an expatriate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which will give my wife is not she's minimalistic. She's not into all this big stuff and big things, but you also have to make their life comfortable for her a bit, as she knows that we have to be realistic. Left to me alone, I don't care. Can sleep anywhere, everywhere. I don't care.
But
But
it's you plus a wife and 3 children.
yeah, I have to. So it's not an easy decision. It is that I definitely think about it, but it will take a while. For now, the kids are young. We may go on visits, but
Can you see yourself getting old in Germany and die in a funeral like you've experienced?
where I die, I have never thought of. But there is no land that hates God. So if I die here, so be it. If I die in Ghana, I don't know, Lena. I've not given it much thought, but it's not up to me.
How do you always keep moving on if things are they're getting difficult and hard? And I mean, Germany is a country that can give you a hard time concerning paperwork and licenses and pressure again. Like, how do you not give up?
I externalize a lot. There is a saying where I come from. One person cannot cover the face of God. I have only two hands. There are certain things that are up to me. I fulfill my part, like Bob Marley says. We have to fulfill the book. Yeah, in redemption song. I do my part. I leave the rest. You cannot force it all the time. I don't know if I told you I now have unbefristed allowedness. So I have a permanent residence permit. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I signed a new contract till next year for my work too, but it all did not come easy. Since November, I have lived in uncertainty because my contract was tied with my residence permit, and they were all supposed to expire on the 11th of February. And I decided not to go for the normal residence permit since I fulfilled certain criteria. I just wanted to go for the permanent residence permit. And that can take months, especially because of COVID, so it can take 4 months or so. You read these things online and you get scared. I have had a hectic time in the past couple of months. When the baby was born, been in and out of the hospital. My wife has also been in and out of the hospital. Don't know what is wrong with it. This is kind of like deep. And as a man, especially an African man who wants to be in charge and in control, you realize that, hey, it's not up to you. I know the German mentality is that
We
I'll do
control
everything. I have to control everything. What I don't see, I don't do.
everything, yeah.
No, it doesn't work that way for me. And that is why I think I have this chance of escaping the stress. It's not that I don't get stressed, but I know what I can do, what I cannot do. I think me believing in a higher power. I nearly lost my son 2 days after he was born. He nearly died in my own arms. This is traumatic. It's affecting my wife. It's really bad. I still have to go to work and come back. I believe there is a reason for everything, even if it is not nice. There is a reason. So I feel stressed. I have felt like shit in the past couple of weeks, but I move. It is usually not up to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes things have to get rough in order to get better.
Mm-hmm. So you do your part and you leave the rest.
Pain is not a necessary ingredient for growth. Do what you can and leave the rest.
Yeah.
There are certain situations you have to go through pain. Yes, I accept that.
And in the moment you let go, things solve itself. And it's a golden rule. We think I have to ensure myself and be prepared for everything. And then I give the responsibility away, but not to the bigger, but to all the documents. Like it's impossible. I didn't book trains. And I have insurance for to get my money back, right? So you kind of like mix around and control it, but well, you can't.
Lena, I learned something in teacher training college when I was 20 years old. Suffering is optional. Look, if I had planned my life in Germany that, hey, it's going to be this, it's going to be that, maybe I would have given up because a time came, I asked myself, yes, I asked myself, what am I doing here? Situations will push you. 5 months here, I got a job at Tankstelle, the famous A44, Afian Fearless, this A44 highway, yeah, autobahn. There are certain things I didn't want to do. The people didn't understand me. So this Indian boy, he told me, Karim, do you really want to do this job? No, but you need the money. I said, yes. So do whatever they tell you. And I said, I understand you. But working is also about trust. There is these cameras, the cameras watch you, and they don't want to see you standing. So every 5 minutes you must do something. And I was defiant and I said, that is stupid. People must work for their money, but they must work Fenufte. I just cleaned this place. I'm not going there 5 minutes later because you will think I'm standing there doing nothing. So what if there are guests, kunde, coming in for 2 hours? I have no pausa. That shows you I'm working. So let me also enjoy the free time.
Yeah, just
when the clients are not coming in. I give my best. But hey, just like the world, if I die today, the vacancy is open for the next person. I'm not going to kill myself for that. And I'm serious. Just think about it. That job that you're going 9 to 5, the show will always go on. The world will always move on without you. You are just a speck in the system.
So you need to take care of yourself and you need to
take care of yourself, your mental health.
Wow, you're very wise. I think a lot of people, they just don't see that, and that really breaks them. I find it very great to see how you manage. And I think also one big reason why you can manage so well is because the way you think. When I was living in Germany and I had a fixed job, if I couldn't go at least 1 to 2 times per year to the African continent, I got depressive. And I promise you, it's a different world. It's a different life, completely different life.
Every experience I have had in Germany so far has been worth it. Any African watching this, if you really want to live in Germany, prepare your mind. Learn to drive before you come to Germany. One of my big lessons, I had to give someone 70 euros every month just to fill his tank to pick me up to work. I still had to walk 40 minutes to his house.
Oops. Okay.
And then before he would go with me, and it didn't matter whenever we came back, even if it was 11 p.m. in the night, he would still go to his house and I would walk from his house to my house.
Wow.
Meanwhile, the drive would have been 8 minutes. So in and out, 16 minutes. He wouldn't do it for me. It's one of the toughest things I had to go through. So I had to quit that job, and I didn't know that I had to give a notice, like maybe 4 weeks notice before quitting.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was. I nearly messed up a few relationships because of this action. So it's like that. I had to learn the hard way. You are never too old to learn a new lesson. And I wouldn't say the person did that to me, but it was something that I had to learn. And each day that I drive, then I drive past his house on my way to work, I just shake my head. The difference that a year or two I'm making a person's life. I don't have anything against him. Sometimes when something negative happens in your life, it is just to help you make better decisions in the future.
Yeah.
And I pick up people, take them wherever they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I remember a time in my life I paid someone money and still walked 40 minutes.
2 times. That's 80
Yeah,
minutes.
80 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You get it. But I
Yeah.
don't want another person to go through that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So instead of now, I thank that person actually in my mind. I'm glad it happened.
To your friends and Ghanaian friends, on any African who is dreaming about going to Europe, going to Germany. I mean, you can only speak for Germany, I guess, but
Mm.
are there some things you would tell them to think about before they really do that step?
Number one, get here, but get here the right way. You get here the right way, that is maybe a quarter or half of your problem solved, depending on what you intend to do here.
Mm-hmm.
There's the security of walking in town and not looking over your shoulder if someone is coming for you, and when you leave your home to come here to start a new living, nothing is guaranteed. There are no freebies in Germany. You have to work for everything. The system runs things, it's not the people.
Yeah.
And you really have to have proof of the things you say or the reasons why you want to stay. And the stress and uncertainties I have seen in people's eyes who have to go back.
Yeah. That must be horrible. Yeah.
I have had to shed a tear or two because this is a work you cannot do without. You have to keep a professional distance, but sometimes you are human. Sometimes words cannot describe these feelings, Lena.
Working with refugees and people who need to go back to their home country. Yeah.
What people have to go through to get here is crazy. It's crazy. It's unimaginable. And then you get there and it's like you have to go back or you have to work illegally in the system.
Yeah.
That is not life.
No, that's not life. You will never be free. You're always on
That
the, you're
is
always
not
hiding.
life.
And going back means you have to go back and face the people that trust that you will make it.
Yeah. And I want people to understand it's not because you are black or because you are African. There are people of all races, North Africans, Black Africans. Yeah. There are people from the Gulf regions, Middle East. There are people from China. There are people who tell you, look, I've been in Europe for 18 years.
18 years.
Just seeking asylum from Finland to Sweden, Germany, Ireland, England, Belgium, back to Germany. They even know the system better than you working with them, and they are not allowed to stay. When things go right, life here is not really bad. You get value for money. You get your life's worth.
If you ask me, I wish that everyone who really wants from the heart to try and stay in another country gets the chance. I just really wish to you that you keep following your heart and that you find your freedom, your unconditional love in Germany for the moment and wherever life is taking you. But I guess just like my experience working or like working with a lot of Turkish people, for example, that like have children born in Germany, their roots are in Germany. And I know that a lot of people, when they get older, they feel like going back to their root. It might split the family, right? Because your children might not come, or part of your children might feel German, or But that's life, and I mean, or they might move to Mexico because they want to experience life in Mexico, you know. Well, you never know.
Die Geborgenheit ist nie weg. Es ist nie weg. I cannot speak for other people, but the feeling is always there. It's either I learn to cut my losses or do something about it. But for now, it's something I'm not pressuring myself to think about. But it is there. It's a little ping in a corner of my mind. It is there. I know you also do feel sometimes the urge to visit Germany, maybe family, maybe a friend. Sometimes video calls are not enough.
Yeah.
You know, it is there. It is human nature. It's what you know.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just have to breathe in the air.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the smell of rain.
Mm-hmm.
After rainfall, when it hits the dust, that smell.
The hot air and the plant.
You never get it here. No. These are certain things we take for granted. You never value them until you don't have them. Yeah. And I never knew I could miss such things. It could rain in Germany here and I'll not hear anything, But the rain in Ghana is like someone throwing stones on your roof, and these are little things you miss. People cannot imagine. It's not the big.
It's the rain season in Ghana.
Yeah, it's not the big stuff, Lena. Life is crazy.
Malaria.
Life is crazy, It's not the big things that you miss, but it's the little things. Being able to sit on the street, yes, on the street outside, literally, with your back facing the ongoing traffic, talking to people and not feeling afraid that you will be run over by a vehicle, these little experiences in Germany, but it's all good. I'm building new experiences here. It doesn't have to be all fun and joy, the goal. Sometimes the answer is not in the goal, but on the way to the goal. I've met nice people like you. It's only Providence that made me meet you. I used to sing in the choir until COVID came. I never really sang in choirs in Ghana. Yeah. So these are also positive experiences.
I'm very grateful for your friendship and for your sharings, for your honesty. I'm very grateful when we see each other one day and we hug and celebrate life.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that day too, Lena.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you like and subscribe. Share it with your friends and family. If you have questions, get in touch with me at Lena Loves Africa on Instagram. Thanks for listening. See you in the next episode.